Hello, my name is Nadia Benjoudou. I'm a Vice President of the eBusiness Suite Product Strategy, and I'd like to show you a very quick demonstration of the eBusiness Suite Cloud Manager. In fact, it is a teaser demonstration. You're welcome to watch the full video when you have time. The EBS Cloud Manager is really part of our EBS Cloud Automation Release 18.3.1, which was released last Friday, the 14th of September 2018, and it supports both eBusiness Suite 12.1.3 and 12.2. The eBusiness Suite Cloud Manager offers a graphical UI. I know something that you guys have been waiting for. It is, in fact, a web-based application that drives all the automation flows for eBusiness Suite, including creating a new environment, cloning an environment, deleting an environment, and so on, as well as configuring the eBusiness Suite environment OCI. The Cloud Manager was really designed with the simplification in mind, at the same time considering the different tasks all the EBS DBAs perform on a regular basis, many of you actually on a daily basis, with, of course, the intention of reducing the effort to perform the DBA operations. The Cloud Manager does replace the EBS Cloud Admin tool. Many of you are familiar with and many of you have used already, but providing all the capabilities, the older tool, as well as the some of the new tools that we have made available as part of the latest release, 18.3.1, namely the automation of the OneNode VMDB. Now, let's go and show the demonstration live. Just go to put that in a full screen. So when you connect to the EBS Cloud Manager, you will see a screen like this one. And you notice immediately we have three tabs: the environments, backups, and activities. In the environment tab, you notice two main sections: the summary and the environments themselves. The summary basically gives you at a high level what environment you have. Well, you have three environments here. I have 3 application tier on compute, of course, 2 database on compute, 1 on VMDB. I don't have any environment on EXA in this account. To drill down a little bit on what the environments are, you see here the environment have some high-level details like the name, the EBS release, the database release, how many nodes, and so on. It does tell you the database service type, like, for instance, compute, or VMDB, and if I had EXA, it will tell me EXA. It shows you the activity, what was created. Now, if you want to get more detail about a particular environment, you just need to click on it. Again, number of sections there. It tells you in the summary, I have 1 application node, 1 database node. In the general information, gives you really detail of the EBS in general, the availability domain, how it has been provisioned, detail about the application nodes, as well as detail of the database nodes. Now let's go back and see what else we could do. We can, in fact, provision an environment from using the Cloud Manager, and we have 2 options there: a simplified as well as advanced. Let's go for the simplified. The simplified, as you see, all what you need to do is put a name here. And basically you submit, and automatically the environment is created. The simplified provisioning is only available for you, as I said, if you have set up the sandbox network during the process of deploying and configuring the Cloud Manager. And this is all described in our must note called Deploying eBusiness Suite Cloud Manager on OCI. The simplified provisioning uses the subnet and the security layers defined in the sandbox network. It actually is created in availability domain 1, and therefore I don't really choose it here. And the whole idea of simplified provisioning is really to streamline the process of provisioning a new environment by using preset topology. As I said, it creates an environment in availability domain 1 by default, and the application and the database VM are created in shape 2.1. So if I hit submit, it will send the request to create a new environment. So it's really one single click to create a new environment from a demo environment. I have here demo environment, a release of EBS 12.2.7 and the database 12.1. So let's go back and cancel that. And let me show you the advanced provisioning. The advanced provisioning, you could see there are lots of things you have the option to choose and the freedom to choose. This basically the same, create the name of the environment. And you see here in the installation type, you can either create a new installation, for example, from a demo environment, or you can actually create a provision, a new environment from a backup. And you can either select new or provision from a backup. Now let's go with the new installation. Again, here I'm selecting a demo environment, EBS 12.2.7 and so on. And press the next takes me to the section where I define and decide the option for my database tier. In the database tier, you have the freedom to select your subnet as opposed to the simplified provisioning, which was predefined. Same here with security list. The database here tier, we have three options. We have an option of creating the database on compute, or a database on Exadata, or a database on a VMDB system. Note that the compute and the database on Exa, those automations have already been available for a while, part of the automation 18.2.1. What is new in 18.3.1 is actually the automation for virtual machine DB system. So let's take that because it's the new. We put the name here, Nadia DB. I can choose the shape of my database. I can choose the software, the database edition. I can choose the high performance or extreme performance. I can say here whether the database license or subscription is included or you are doing a BYOL to pass. I'm going to use the standard one since I'm not having a conversation here about licenses. I can put the PDB name. I can select the password, and you better remember what password you selected because it verifies it in here. Oh, thank God, it's the same password, so I can actually do a next step. The next step, I have the option to define my application tier, my web entry, and the load balancer. Let's say I would like 3 application nodes here. Again, I have the freedom to select the subnet, the security list, and the shape. All those options I was not able to choose when I did simplified. So again, I just select anything. Here, the load balancer by default is checked, but you can uncheck it if you don't want to use our LBAS, if you have your own load balancer. The web entry, you just put a name here. You put the domain. I leave the port. The web access, it gives you the format. And once you are done, you actually go to next. And here you have the opportunity to check and validate all the parameters in the review mode. And when you're done, you submit the request. Now let's see what else we could do in with the Cloud Manager. So I can select an environment and I can click on this icon. And because the environment is successful, I can actually clone from it. I can also delete it. If I click on the clone, it shows you the same as the advanced provisioning loaded with the details. So you can clone an existing environment, so the same environment name and so on. And when you are ready, you submit. I can select an environment and do a delete. You need to confirm the delete action. I'm not. So this is really what you could do in the environment page. So you can review your environment, you can drill the detail of the environment, you can provision with the one-click provisioning called simplified provisioning. You could do the advanced, you could do a clone, you could do delete. Let's see what we have in the backups tab. In the backup, it shows you basically all the backups that you have. Some of them may be coming from your on-prem. So that's the lift part of your on-prem. You put it in the in your OCI account, and you can provision from it, which basically completes the shift. So that's the lift and shift part. And here the activities is list that shows you all the activities you have done. Here, for example, I have created, the last one I created and it is successful. The one before last, I did the clone, it was successful, and so on and so on. And I can, in fact, do a restart, for example. This one is failed, so I can restart it. So I have an environment that has failed in creation, I can restart it. If the environment was successful, I cannot do a restart because it has been successfully ended, and so on. So with that, I come to really the end of the teaser demonstration, and hopefully you have the chance to review the full demonstration that I published on YouTube. With that, thank you very much for listening.